Thousands of people are without power this evening across Texoma. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas is calling this an energy emergency. And these rolling blackouts, it's not just us, they're happening all across Texas.
But some people say that their power rolled off hours ago and it just hasn't rolled back on yet. News 12's Emily Tabar joins us live from the culprit of this mess. She's outside in the cold. Emily, tell us what an energy emergency is.
Dan, Jen, an EEA or energy emergency alert is when the demand for electricity is very high, but the supply can't keep up. ERCOT says this EEA is unprecedented. Between a high demand for electricity and severe winter weather, they say controlled outages are a last resort to preserve the grid as a whole. I'm here at Walmart in Denison, as you can see behind me. They lost power today and they had to close their doors.
There's just insufficient supply of generation on the grid.
Utilities across Texas have been required by ERCOT to do controlled or rolling outages across service areas because of a lack of supply. On top of the increased electricity these winter storms are requiring to heat homes.
This is not a preferable situation, and we all recognize that. We're trying to reduce the length of those outages as much as we can. But we also want to make sure that we preserve the reliability of the system as a whole.
Oncor expected outages to last 15 to 45 minutes at a time. While thousands have lost power on and off in Texoma, some have been without power since late last night.
The power's flickered back on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, and then gone right back out for up to almost 12 hours now.
Temperature has dropped to about 58 degrees in the house here since they didn't keep the power on long enough for it to recoup the loss of heat. I'm not equipped for 3-4 hours at a time or more.
ERCOT says rolling outages can only be used in certain areas.
They don't use areas where there are hospitals or emergency responders and those kind of things. They really don't have enough options to be able to rotate between different areas. They can't rotate through them and still reduce the demand by the amount that we need to maintain reliability.
But residents are also concerned about the toll this will take on their homes.
You know, when it's 3 degrees outside and no one has heat, pipes are going to freeze and break, and it's going to take months and months to fix. 8 days of water dripping out of 3 faucets is probably a $1,000 water bill, all because you can't heat your home.
Well, Oncor said in a press release that they may be required by ERCOT to continue these controlled outages through Tuesday and to be prepared for these long-term outages. Live in Denison, Emily Tabar, News 12.
Well, cities across Texoma are asking people to conserve water, and there are thousands still without power tonight, many with low water pressure or just no water at all.
And News 12's Meredith McCown joins us now live in Denison, where there's one of several cities asking people to take it easy on the tap. Meredith, how did the cold weather cut down on the water supply?
Dan, Jen, the city of Denison says this morning the main pump station lost power, and the same thing happened at the water treatment plant in Sherman, but the city says it's back up for now and everything should be back to normal tomorrow. Earlier tonight at the Residence at Gateway complex, a water pipe burst causing 2 buildings to lose water.
When we woke up this morning and went to turn on the kitchen faucets, there was absolutely no water that came out.
A rude awakening for Jessica Wright and her family with no power or water. She's assuming their pipes are frozen since the water is out throughout her house. She says it's been stressful with 3 kids at home. The youngest is 2.
And just the thought of having no electricity already, and then on top of that, no water to be able to cook or anything like that for your children, it's just, a very big stressor for sure.
Ever since multiple pumps lost power in Denison, city spokesman Aaron Werner says they've been trying to find generators and unthawed pipes. The water treatment plant in Sherman lost power, and with several water main breaks, hundreds were left without water, along with Anna, Lone Grove, and Pottsboro, who gets their water from Denison.
Think of any way you can to save multiple gallons of water at a time. We ask you to do that.
He says if you have water, save it for necessities like eating and drinking. City officials say to reduce showers and baths, don't wash dishes or use the dishwasher or laundry machines, and don't flush toilets until necessary. Wright says they've been relying on bottled water, snacks, and blankets.
You know, to kind of stay to where we have something to drink, something to eat, and just basically just trying to keep ourselves warm with blankets.
Wright said they tried to stay in a hotel, but all were booked. Tonight, the city of Sherman issued a boil order for the north and west parts of the city. They do expect it to be rescinded in 24 hours. Live in Denison, Meredith McCown, News 12.
The city of Sherman is calling the water outages critical and life-threatening.
Today, they asked all industries to shut down, and they're going to limit water supply to residential areas, nursing homes, and hospitals. News 12's Meredith McCown reports.
When the Sherman water treatment plant shut down and lost power during the rolling blackouts, the system manager says it froze since pumps weren't running. So now the city's priority is to get water to the people and places that critically need it.
It's been challenging.
Lauren Buckner lives in Knollwood, and her water was shut off on Monday. She has 3 kids at home, 8, 5, and 11 months old.
How are we going to bathe our kids, make bottles for our baby, flush toilets even? It's been interesting trying to figure out where we're going to get water from.
City Manager Robbie Hefton says the city is using more water than they can produce, causing widespread outages and low pressure. Frozen pipes have also caused water main breaks across town. Encore Area Manager Todd Thompson confirmed the Sherman Water Treatment Plant was included on ERCOT's list for rolling blackouts. Thompson says Sherman should have been able to switch to a backup source of power to avoid having to shut down. A city spokesperson is looking into why that didn't happen. In the meantime, they've switched to groundwater, but residents have to boil it and the supply is limited. They're asking everyone to conserve.
We actually came out here the other day with the dog food bowls and scooped it into the water bowl. And in the house, the heaters are on, so it melts pretty quick.
Buckner got water jugs filled from family in Denison.
But that's pretty much already gone 24 hours later, so it's going quick.
They've been melting snow to flush toilets and wash dishes.
Gave the kids a rag bath last night. It was interesting.
The city says for them to be able to get water to the north and west parts of the town, everyone has to use less water. They say crews are working to fix the problems, but right now there's no timeline for when this will be fixed. Reporting in Sherman, Meredith McCown, News 12.
Well, the city of Sherman is partnering with 903 Brewers to provide canned water. They have 100 cases available right now at the Sherman Municipal Ballroom, and anyone can pick it up. 903 will have more on the way when that runs out. We'll have more about that tonight at 10. Well, the temperature's down in the 20s tonight. The last place most of us want to be is outside. For the homeless here in Texoma without a place to stay to warm their lives, they're very much in danger.
That's right. News 12's Mike Rogers spoke with a man who's been homeless for more than 3 years. He traveled a long way to be here in Texoma. Mike, how is he staying warm and alive tonight?
Dan and Jen Leland Jensen fell asleep on a park bench over 3 years ago. When he woke up, his wallet and his dog were gone. Ever since, he says his life has been a nightmare. One day, he was begging on the street, and a man gave him some money, but Jensen said what he really wanted was a job. So the man gave him a chance and brought him to Texoma. Tonight, he's sleeping in the man's shed behind his shop, but he says it could always be worse.
I got a little tiny heater that I found in the garbage, about 8 inches high and about 6 inches wide, and it does pretty well, you know.
It's how Leland Jensen is staying warm tonight.
Oh, I mean, a lot of times I eat better out of dumpsters than I could eat if I had a regular job and was going to the grocery store.
Bunkered in a shed behind a contracting shop in Denison with a hot plate for water for himself and his best friend, Ladybug.
I got to stay out of trouble for her. You know, I go to jail, she goes to the pound.
As temperatures in parts of Texoma drop to the low 20s, he's counting his blessings.
Whether they live in a big fancy home or whether they live literally on the street, and that we approach and we treat them equally.
For 10 years, those without warm clothes, food, or a place to stay have been given just that at St. Luke's Episcopal in Denison.
They are part of our family. We are part of them. They know us. They know that this is a safe place to be.
Over the past 2 years, the church opened what they call a warming center. It's a place to stay for anyone in need on nights like tonight.
The coffee pot will be on all night long.
Masks will be provided and snacks will be available. Jensen said he can't go to many shelters because dogs aren't allowed. But with a roof over his head tonight, he knows he'll at least make it until morning.
It could be so much worse. I couldn't imagine being in some little thin tent with no cover, you know, and the wind ripping through.
The shelter at St. Luke's is funded completely through donations to the church. Before the pandemic, Prashal said they were feeding around 100 people a night. Now it's down to about 40. They also used to have a clothing outlet with over 7,000 items that he said would serve over 1,600 people over a day-and-a-half period. Reporting live in studio, Mike Rogers, News 12.
Well, the Nautilus Family Fitness in Sherman opened today for the first time this week.
For Texomans with frozen pipes and without running water because of the weather and the shortages of power, their showers are available to anyone who needs them, not just members. News 12's Mike Rogers reports.
She sniffed me. She said, yeah, we're going.
It's been 40 degrees in Tim and Tammy Parody's home. The heat cycles on and off. They only have cold water running in their home. And today is the first time they've been able to shower since Sunday.
My hair is going to be very thankful. Thank you so much.
We're fortunate enough to not only have power here, but also running hot water.
Nautilus Family Fitness in Sherman opened Tuesday for the first time this week with limited hours. Treadmills are taped off in case the power cuts off. Fitness classes are canceled and the daycare is closed, but the showers are fully operational.
We just wanted to give back a little bit to the community, and anybody that needs a shower is able to come take it, whether they're a member or not.
Couldn't wash dishes, couldn't wash hands, couldn't shower myself, couldn't bathe my pets, couldn't do any, it was real rock bottom.
Alan Villasenor lives on the east side of Sherman. His pipes froze and his water was shut off Sunday. He's been showering at the Nautilus in Sherman and Denison, as well as friends' places for the past 2 days.
It's not the fact that it's a public place. It's just not ideal having to go somewhere to do basic human needs. I'm super grateful for this. For the gym opening, posting the status saying that they are opening, it was a lifesaver.
Around 15 people have used the showers at the Nautilus on Highway 75 since they were made available. For now, anyone who needs a shower can go from noon to 6 as long as they have power. For updates on facility hours and shower availability, check our website and app. In Sherman, Mike Rogers, News.
Well, an elderly woman from Pottsboro has been without power for days after she says her electric company announced those rolling blackouts.
And now today she's lost water too. News 12's Nina Quattrino spoke with her this afternoon about what she's experienced.
Robin McCaig has lived in Pottsboro for more than 3 decades. She says she's never experienced anything like this before.
I know that this can't be helped. It's a blizzard. I understand that. But you know, I've lived in this area for 35, 40 years, and I have never.
McCaig was just released from the hospital after having double pneumonia. She's worried she might get sick again.
It's been terrible. All our food's now starting to go bad in the refrigerator.
Tuesday, her water pressure shut off, leaving her with nothing. It's the reason McCaig didn't want to show her face during her interview.
I can't go take a shower. I mean, you know, or put my makeup on and everything. I know that sounds...
Her small dogs.
My little doggie, she's had seizure after seizure.
She's been relying on blankets, heavy sweaters, and her fireplace to stay warm.
Other than that, what else can we do? I mean, we're kind of at the mercy of the power company.
McCaig says her energy providers, Encore, announced rolling blackouts, meaning they'd be turning off and on their power to conserve energy. But McCaig doesn't understand their logic.
Certain areas and rolling blackouts, no, it's been blacked out.
Thankfully, her power came on during our interview.
I'm afraid everything's, and see, I got battery-powered lights, and I'm charging the big ones because I'm afraid after you leave within minutes, I'm afraid the power's going to go back out.
But moments after we left, the power turned off again. Reporting in Pottsboro, Nina Quattrino, News 12.
Wow, and you were saying it's happening everywhere. There's so many people just like her, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, so many stories out of Pottsboro tonight too, and I've experienced that firsthand. And man, it is no fun in a house with no electricity for 10, 12 hours at a time with a rolling blackout.
Yeah, it's dangerous is what it is.